So some of you see him ad nauseum. Ah, best help.
C, track left. HXK, 1 loop. Between A and F, working canter, left Z.
That was very cleverly shown.
B, circle left, 20 meters. HXF, change range. X, working cross. A, medium walk. HK, medium walk. KXH, free walk.
That last diagonal and that transition here, very high marks. 8 or 9, comfortable.
H to C, medium walk. C, working cross. MXF, 1 loop. Between A and K, working canter, right lead. E, circle right, 20 meters. C, working cross.
Wow.
E, circle right, 20 meters in rising trot, allowing the horse to stretch forward and downward. Before
He's not running away. Easy, easy. Yeah, well. I should keep my mouth shut. Good.
A, down center line. X, halt, salute.
Okay, guys, I hope you realize this is fantasy land. You don't see training level tests like this very often. This is probably one of the best test 3s I've seen. There were some very high marks in it, including 110. Where do you think there was a 10? The transition at C? Are you a judge?
No.
Too bad. You're right. That transition at sea, that is a tough transition. Especially for a training level horse. Upper level horses have trouble with the transitions. That goes down to I1 as it has a transition at sea. Very difficult. And to nail it as nicely and balanced as she did, and at the letter as she did, for a training level, you could say that was an 11. Okay? So here you had an opportunity on that transition, the diagonal here where she had the transition over X, very high number. Why not a 10? Because you faded out a little bit down at the other end. Okay? But again, a 9 would have been totally in there. No? So this horse, very nice horse. How old is the horse? 5. Some really high scores? No? And a couple of them that were still developing scores. Okay? Okay, I messed up a little bit on the stretchy circle, but he at least started. Okay, he was on the right track, so I would have been happy with that. Hals he has to work on a little bit. But overall ride, this is one of those training level rides in the 80s. This was good. And when you say, yeah, this was good, then it has to be in the 80s. So you saw 2 rides already this morning. I think her last test was better than the first one. And you saw the earlier mare, the black mare in test 1. Also in the 80s. As I said, this is fantasy land. Okay? But I'd much rather demonstrate the new tests with really good horses to see, yes, it is possible, instead of always having the meager ones and you have to decide is it a 5 or a 6. Yeah? I'd much rather decide is it an 8 or a 9 or a 9 or a 10. It rides like this on a regular show would have made my day. Literally. Sometimes you remember the whole day you're judging 50 horses, you're worn out and said, what stood out? Oh, those 2 training level rides, sometimes, oh God, early in the morning or late in the day. And I say, that's was the highlight. Not maybe the Grand Prix ride that was 59%. No, that training level ride where you can give over 80. So by all means, tell that to the judges. I know we have a few here. If you have the opportunity, especially in the lower levels here, an opportunity to give a high score, give a high score. But please, if something really goes wrong and there are training issues involved, give the low score to give the rider a heads up and saying, hold it, you need to work on here. Okay? That's the important.